Also, my wonderful idiots have managed this while I've been gone. I think today's video is going to be my most ambitious video yet. We're going to buy every single piece of land available. Once we own them all, we're going to raise everything up into the sky and farm it that way, which is probably going to cost about $500 million. I had no idea you could even buy like the area with the castle on it. I don't think that's any good for farming whatsoever, but I'm not much of a farmer anyway. Looks like I can actually buy pretty much everything. Honestly, not sure how much money I had to start with, but we're down to just under 800 million. Now, there's really not going to be any easy way to do this. We can raise everything except where there's a road and things like train tracks. So I'm just going to kind of start right here, and as soon as I can make a pillar go into the sky, we'll kind of build off of that as best we can. I just realized there's a bit of an easier way to do this. I can just kind of mouse around the map from here, and it builds everything up to maximum height. So I'm going to do this as best I can too, and then we have other pillars to build off of. Maybe this won't take 24 hours. Hey, look at that! My dog's still alive. It's definitely kind of hard to see what land you can raise and what you can't. For example, this corner I can't do, but as I turn the camera, there's someone's house down there and that's why I can't raise it quite right there. Unfortunately, we cannot do anything about the castle, but I would bet you $10 I can now land a tractor on top of it. I think I'm actually going to run out of money doing this. I'm down to 568 million and I've still got a long ways to go. I think doing this is going to make for some mega farming. Look at the size of some of these fields. They're going to be a bit tricky to access, but they're ginormous. If only we just had a really simple way to connect all these fields together, we could have a massive farm going. Until then, it's going to be a little bit hard because after you farm a field, you're going to have to go all the way back down, then all the way back up, unless you jump across, and as we discovered earlier, that's not that easy. This is actually taking so long that it turned into nighttime, and I'm playing in real time. And I actually had to give myself more money. I spent the full 800 million doing this already, and I'm back down to almost 800 million, and I'm still not done yet. I considered keeping the death maze, but it's actually in a pretty nice piece of real estate, so it's gotta go, so I've gotta move all my equipment out of there. And there's just no way I'm driving it. I'm gonna bring everything back here as long as it fits. Problem: apparently there's no room by the shop. Solution: push everything away with my biggest tractor. And good enough for me. Well, apparently we're out of room again, but I've got enough room to work with out there that I can continue landscaping. This definitely kind of gives the game an entirely different feel. Not really sure how I'm going to get to the top of any of these yet. Gonna have to be pretty clever with some ramps. I think I just want to try and determine which one of these fields is actually the biggest and try and farm it. That shouldn't actually be too hard for once I make my ramp up there and figure out which one is the biggest. Which might actually be the one underneath me right now, but it's kind of hard to tell. The former death maze is the field I'm going to use. I really think it is the biggest. The way I'm going to get over there, as kind of demonstrated by that tractor, is gravity. And in case you were wondering, the total cost to build all this up to the sky is about $1.2 billion. One of the things I'm going to need to keep in mind for farming this area is everything's going to have to be pretty high speed tractors, high speed everything, just to clear this gap, because it's a little bit bigger than I thought it was going to be. I might have to lower it down just a bit, because this is a pretty fast tractor, and it didn't really clear it by all that much. That ramp out is looking mighty fine though. Now I've got all this real estate to work with. But before we get too carried away actually doing anything, let's see if we can actually get a big obnoxious plow all the way up there. Because if I can't use big equipment to do this, I'm not doing it. It's just too big of an area. I think we can kind of nudge it out of there. The physics in this are a little bit screwy, so you'd be surprised what actually works. You know what? I know a better way. We're just going to buy a brand new one because it starts right there. I just realized if I run into any vehicles around here, we're not going to have a lot of space to navigate around each other. Even getting onto my ramp right now is going to be pretty hard because I can't make a wide turn anymore. But I'll make this work. That feels like a pretty big gap right now considering the tractor and attachment I'm using. But as long as I'm maintaining about 42, 43 kilometers an hour, I think I'll clear the gap, but probably only just. I really don't want to have to readjust this anymore because believe it or not, this whole thing takes a long time to create. I don't think I'm going to make the gap now that I'm here. Not even close. Well, that's disappointing. Maybe I should just make a normal ramp like a normal person would. And it's upside down. Of course it is. New ramp is complete. Hopefully it's not too steep. I think it's going to be okay given my previous ramps. I even made a proper corner for once. Maybe not the most consistent of ramps, but it's a ramp. It may not be quick, but neither is anything else in this stupid video. As I was saying, we're literally floating right now. None of our wheels are touching the ground. We're perfectly balanced at the top of our ramp. And we made it. And I just really couldn't be happy about that because now I get to plow basically everything you see here. So I'll see you in a few exciting hours. Lap number 1 is done. You want to know what takes a really, really long time? This. I'm plowing this whole thing manually. Imagine driving around this field 1,000 times at 10 kilometers an hour. I know I can. This is it. The final triangle I need to plow. Let's just take a moment to appreciate the hours and hours of plowing I just did to make this happen. Is the result going to be worth it? Absolutely not. It never is. At this point, I'd like to forget that that plow ever existed, so it's going in the hole forever. I think I want to try canola again because I'm already somewhat familiar with it, so it should be the easiest to do. I just need to remember which it is that plants it, and I think it's this thing. So again, I don't know how to get it out. This one is already nice and free with a fast little tractor, so we're going to use this and take it up to make sure this all works before we get too carried away. Not that I've already plowed 1,000 acres of field or anything. This thing, whatever it's called, is full, and we have another one right there too. Okay, well, let's get this one up there and get it started. We'll hire a worker to do that. Hopefully they can actually manage for once, and then we'll come back and get another one, then another one, then another one. I invest way too much time into these ideas. Really hope this little tractor can make it all the way up this ramp. I meant to readjust it and I completely forgot until right now because it's been a while. It doesn't love the top part of the ramp. We get down to a cool 2 kilometers per hour, but it's gonna make it. Debating whether or not it's worth the time to smooth out the ramp a little bit. But the most important thing is we made it. Alright, let's set this idiot to work. Hopefully he just does it without going off the edge. I am gonna leave him pretty unsupervised for a while. Off he goes. And good enough. In fact, I'm calling this a success as of right now. Hopefully this one will be a little bit quicker up the ramp, because that in itself takes a long time. I suspect that we're working in an area so large that I might actually have to transport some of those seed crates up there. That way I don't have to drive these things back and forth every time. I can just bring the seeds to them to refill them. That confirms it. I'm just going to buy tractors this big or bigger from here on out. Those little ones are pretty quick on flat ground, but nothing in this world is really flat anymore. Wow, the other guy's actually still working. He didn't screw it up yet. Alright, well I'm going to take this guy and put him way on the other side. That way they don't run into each other, because that always seems to be a problem. This one is going to start probably here. Good luck figuring that pattern out. Now to delicately retrieve that planter. I'm just hoping this works out somehow. Almost got it. Unless of course it won't let you attach to it while it's upside down. I just realized those other two probably are on something of a collision course, but they'll kind of figure it out, or I'll have to come separate them again like I always do. Either way, not a big surprise. This one I'm gonna set loose right here. I don't mean to alarm anyone, but everything is actually going pretty well so far. I'm gonna start this one on this side of the murder hole, something like that. Judging by the way they work, that should work out not bad. They all seem to be working nicely in sync with each other for once. There's the notification I've been looking for. Helper F is blocked by an object. I wonder if it's Helper E. The problem is they just work themselves to the edge of the field. They're not blocked by an object, they're technically just done. So I'm going to point them in a different direction and off they go. So far, so good. I mean, I've got 5 tractors out there, they're all planting seeds for me. It's all working out very well, suspiciously well. Obviously, my massive field requires a massive harvester header. I'm not even sure if that's going to fit up my ramp. But hey, nothing ever works out in my world. Yup, this is going to be the easiest thing I've ever done. You wouldn't believe how strong light poles are in this game. They're invincible. $1,600 wage payment, I'm so concerned about that after spending $1 billion making the worst farm ever. Now we just pray there's going to be no oncoming traffic. I don't think this is even going to fit down my roads. I think we have a problem already. Might have to go the other way. I don't know if there's any other way to get there. There appears to be slightly more room in this direction, so we're going to see if we can make it this way. It's probably faster overall just to get a smaller one of these things, but I'm just not going to do that. And we're stuck. Nicely wedged right between the wall and the tree. Yeah, if it wasn't for that little light and mirror, we would clear that no problem. This is really just a simple physics problem. I don't have enough force to get myself through the gap. And that made very little difference. I think I've just got to bump one of the edges so it kind of pops over the tree, and then we'll cross the next bridge when we get to that. Nope. Wait a sec. I think I managed to navigate past the tree. Now as long as none of the other ones are as close as they look, I'll be okay. Then it's just a matter of navigating the ramp and making it all the way up to the top. Why are the big roads so narrow in this game? Everything's huge. I think I'll just cruise right over top of the truck without much issue. Perfect. Why can't all objects be like that? Uh-oh, we got another narrow spot. Alright, well I guess we're getting a smaller one of these things. So we're just gonna leave that right there, bring this back to the shop and get a slightly smaller thing. Most of these are 13.7 meters. This one is 12.5, so it's not that much smaller. It'll still harvest the canola and I think it will fit where I need it to fit. It's only a little bit smaller. The moment of truth. We are a full meter shorter, a little over a meter shorter, so hopefully we'll just squeeze by those trees that the other one would just not go past. So far so good. We did navigate past the first tree, only barely, but we made it. My helpers are all starting to get blocked by objects, so I need to go visit them pretty soon, and I might have another impassable tree on my hands. Well, I found what the helper was blocked by. The other helper. I can't possibly figure out this situation. I mean, what are the options here? It's even harder than my tree problem. Well, let's try the other way again. Looks like this route is the way to go. So far I haven't had one holdup, aside from the other header thing that I had jammed up, but all I had to do was reset that, and now it's clear sailing. Unless, of course, this entire road is going to be too narrow. Well, looks like I'm going to have to rethink things yet again. You guys are just going to have to bear with me. I'm kind of in a thing. This one is half a meter narrower again, which might just be the little bit of difference I need. Eventually, we'll figure out what size actually gets up there. By the time that's done, the crop's probably already going to be dead. One more failure on our hands. Alright, we're going to reset this one and go for a way smaller one. I think the next step down is about 3 meters shorter, so if it doesn't fit, nothing will. Also, my wonderful idiots have managed this while I've been gone. This one is almost half the size of the original one I wanted to use, but I think it's pretty much going to be the only one we can get up there, and until it's actually up there, I can't even make any promises. So far, it is cruising down the road at rather high speeds, no problem. I could have gotten away with a slightly bigger one, there's just not one that exists in between the last one I tried and this one. Plus, the ramp wouldn't really allow for anything much bigger than this. I'm already hanging off the right side by just a hair. The left side doesn't have a lot of room, so the original one definitely wouldn't have made it up here. At least my stupid harvester can actually make it up the ramp. That was my next concern, and I'm really glad I didn't have to redo the ramps at any point. Now we're getting somewhere. Just gotta get all these up to the top. I was wondering where this one got to. He fell all the way down the edge apparently. So, wait, what? Did he break it? I think he broke the tractor. I'm not really sure what his problem is. Probably that it just fell 600 feet from the heavens. But, yeah, alright, cool. That's a pretty big fall. Don't worry about, telling me about that or anything. Oh, I see the problem. It fell so far that it fused into the ground. Because of course it did. Well, I think it's time we retire this little one anyway. They're about done up top. Hopefully it's not pitch black by the time I get to the top of the ramp, because I do still need to see, and I don't know how to turn the lights on. You know what? We'll just kind of make do. Pretty sure I just saw one of the tractors tumble over the edge up there in the corner, so I'm pretty happy about that. But at least I'll still have 3 of them up here working for the time being. I'm not going to bother to bring the other one back up here because I just don't want to make that drive anymore. Yep, here it is. You proud of yourself? You proud of what you've done? Well, you're going to sit there forever. Starve to death. All 5 harvesters made it to the top, waiting patiently for the other guys to finish whatever they're doing. Shouldn't be too much longer, though I only count 2 actually working right now. I'm not sure what happened to the third one that was up here. I assume he also tumbled over the edge like everyone ever. Yeah, I think I found him. But at this point, we're just playing the waiting game anyway, waiting for my canola to actually grow so I can harvest it and then figure out what to do with it from there. I think I just noticed a small problem with this. If you look in the bottom right, you'll notice how much seed they have remaining. Well, this guy's still full, which means he's not actually distributing any seed. If they were actually planting any seed this whole time, it would look something like that. I was starting to wonder why the canola wasn't growing. They were literally just cultivating, they weren't planting any seeds, because apparently you have to specify that. So they just did this whole area and didn't plant a single thing. I guess this way they'll at least take care of the weeds once, but I assume they'll grow right back. Hey, look at that, I found the lights at least. Now I can see where I'm going up the ramp. I'm going to put all the workers up here in the dark where they deserve to be, and they're going to work all night to hopefully catch up. Now, obviously, once this stuff is finally ever actually done, we're going to need a way to gather it up and bring it back to sell it or whatever it is we're going to do with it, so we got one of these again. It's definitely a pretty long trailer to make it up the ramp, but I think it'll do it. Oh good. More problems. Might need a slightly smaller trailer that can be pulled with a tractor, because that truck is nowhere near making it up that ramp. This trailer is just about as big, a little more off-road worthy, and can be pulled by a tractor, which is the main thing. Now I just need to find one of those. I'm kind of hoping that by the time I actually get to the top of this ramp one last time, that some of this stuff is going to be ready to harvest. I can put my workers on it right away, and I can hopefully hire one to follow it around with this and kind of make the whole thing work all in nice unison. But again, nothing ever works out the way I wanted to. Oddly enough, that doesn't really look like canola though. That is grass. It's ready to harvest. I'm not sure how he ended up on grass, but okay, we're going to have grass and canola. We do have some ready to harvest over here, so I'm going to put one of my harvesters on that and hopefully get a trailer to follow him around. I think the dark brown means it's ready to harvest, and I'm a little worried why there's a strip of canola. Oh, okay, because this guy stopped working right here. Excellent. That's what I'm paying you for, to stop. Seems like that's working pretty well though. The guy is going to get right on that. I'm going to bring my trailer over to him and see if they can figure that part out. So far, they're not really able to figure out anything at all on their own. I wonder what all the different colors mean. That's ready to harvest. That is withered, so okay, I better slow time down a bit because the crops are actually dying faster than I'm able to do anything with them. I have no idea how or why he ended up like this, but he did. So at this rate, if I get one of these full and get a full load actually sold, I'm considering this a success. Still better than I've ever done before. Alright, off you go. And this hardworking guy accomplished this. He did a single strip, drove forward, and stopped. Same with this one, they just keep stopping everywhere. I'm not sure if they're running into other rows or getting confused, but there's still a lot to plant, they just stop abruptly. Seeing as his clever helper is only harvesting a tiny little strip at this point, I'm going to relieve him of his duties and move him over there to where there's actually a lot to harvest. He probably didn't see it because it's so far away, it actually kind of doesn't render. Most of this already died, but hey, you know what? Off you go. Enjoy. After all these hours, I think it's time we recoup a little bit of the money we've spent. We're into this for over $1 billion, and I've made zero profit so far. Everything I do is just costing money and not really accomplishing anything. That pipe goes a long ways out. I was way out. At this point, it would be really cool if the harvester could just, you know, give me its stuff so I could go sell it for money. I don't understand. Normally when I pull up to these, they are happy to dump all their stuff into the box. Another failure. I don't know what the problem is. Normally I drive the trailer up to these things and they unload it very quickly, and nothing is happening this time. Well, this is productive. So glad this works well. And these two have just run into each other again. Outstanding. Well, alright. I guess the total earnings for this farm are 0 because this thing just doesn't work, and I'm so over this I can't even begin to tell you.